and the ethical implications around data surveillance of the poor through these new financial systems, which is something I don't think a lot of people are really thinking ahead about. And I think it's important for context. Like when we think about poverty, really the answer is that people have living wage employment, that they can support themselves, right? Like that's how you solve poverty, is by redistributing the resources. And right now, in this moment, nationally and even globally, the wealth and power is concentrated in the hands of so few people. And until you can shake that loose, you can make the poor jump through every hoop and do every right thing, and it's not going to make Jeff Bezos' money come down to them. It just isn't. And if you look at the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act plan that looks at job projections for southeastern Pennsylvania, of the top 10 highest growth area jobs, I think one was $50 an hour, like manager, one was $30, that was an accountant, and everything else was $10. So we can't even have this housing conversation when we're talking about our highest growth jobs. Projections are $10 an hour. That clearly means they're planning on tons of people running into supportive housing. And in 2016, the Economy League of Philadelphia created a white paper saying, we're going to grow the impact economy of Philadelphia, because what do you do if you have a lot of poverty? Well, you're going to turn that into a profit. And so essentially we're creating, as Ms. Ruth was saying, we are creating an industry around managing poverty as a global investment market. And this was set up largely through the Rockefeller Foundation under Judith Rodin's leadership, interestingly, and the aftermath of the housing crisis, and for the last decade it has been ramping up. And evidently we are the crucible of it, because they said we have a lot of poverty, we have a lot of rich people in the region we have a lot of expertise in these innovative financial instruments, and we have elected officials who are interested. So, and this is at the state and local level. So I'm hoping that once people get a handle on what this actually is, these pay for success finance, it was social impact bonds. Those are more complex. Now they're really calling it pay for success or social impact partnerships. But essentially it's outcomes-based contracts where the government outsources and privatizes, as we're seeing with the housing, services to a nonprofit provider under a performance contract. And then the nonprofit secures investors to invest in the services, and if they meet the performance metrics of the contract, they secure profit by saying, because we provided a service through supportive housing or pre-K or these other things, we have staved off some more expensive future costs. And so that cost is negotiated in between. And so essentially we are creating the poor as data commodities for global hedge funds, because the investors actually plan to securitize that debt on privatized service delivery. And this isn't just Philadelphia, this is national. This is going through third sector, capital partners, social finance, the Social Innovation Fund, every Goldman Sachs, the Vatican Bank, the Kaiser Permanente, every big pot of money, because they have to figure out how to keep it rolling when the poor can't buy anything. So you package the poor as the asset-backed securities of the mortgages, only now it's poor people. And that's what is being set up. So I want people to understand, right now in Austin, Michael Bloomberg is funding putting unhoused folks on blockchain. They're creating blockchain identity systems to pool these data assets. So the poor is based in predictive analytics, so all of the things we've been talking about around historic structural racism and how this reverberates over time, that this is continuing on because it's based on a baseline of impacting a poor person. So you use predictive analytics and big data to make a prediction on your impact on their life. And as we have these blockchain identity systems, and we have smart cities and Internet of Things, and even this little name tag, I had to get my picture taken and there's a barcode. So it's not all robots, even just QR codes collect data on people. And we have to realize that the poor, the kiosks downtown, when they plug their phones in, the poor, that pings against they're collecting and doing predictive profiling on the poor for the many purposes, but also to figure out what Goldman Sachs is going to get on their impact deal. So the NAACP is concerned. Actually, at this summer's national meeting, they passed resoundingly a resolution opposing linking public benefit systems to blockchain identity. And the state of California has issued their NAACP a resolution against pay for success finance in California. I'd like for you to look at what the implications are, because I would hate for our municipal identity program to go that direction. I think the poor should be entitled to services, not as a data commodity for global hedge funds. The other pieces, I know the Reinvestment Fund testified at one of the previous hearings. they are a major investor in these types of products. The housing, the Welcome Home Social Impact Bond in Santa Clara, which is one of these early pilot programs, they have deal evaluators to make it all fair so that they evaluate the data. The data evaluator for the Welcome Home Social Impact Bond in Santa Clara is Palantir. Now, if you guys don't know what Palantir is Peter Thiel's company. It was started by In-Q-Tel, the CIA's venture capital firm. It's involved in border and customs patrol, ICE, predictive policing, a lot of undercover like profiling and risk profiling. So now you're an unhoused person and you're in Santa Clara and the Reinvestment Fund's money is riding on a deal that Palantir is running your data. So I don't think enough people are understanding that this is actually what's happening, and it's still early. But I would hate for us to start creating systems where we're trying to find housing, shelter for these people making $10 an hour in the next 10 years that are mostly going to be black and brown folks who have been systematically deprived of access to stability in their lives, to be thrown into this new world of like QR code impact management, because soon it's not even going to be social workers managing this, it's going to be AI who are making these decisions. And so I just want to say that I would hope that you guys would look into this more closely at what the implications are as turning the poor into a commodity. Because no one should be a commodity for Goldman Sachs. And this is here. Project Home is doing Pay for Success now in Philadelphia. And Sister Mary Skillian opened at the Total Impact Conference the first year she did it, not this past year, but the first opening conference, she gave the welcome remarks. So we have to consider too what it means for faith-based housing in a world where we have mass poverty and what the behavioral expectations are. It's just, there's a lot of ethical questions. So thank you for your time.
Woo!
You guys know about Pay for Success?
Yes, we've heard the term. Thank you.